In this video, I'm going to review and break down Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 3, Cindy Hawkins. So this episode starts off and we're seeing John Dorie Senior and June's essential Groundhog Day underground. We're catching up to them on their 69th day in the bunker, so since the nuclear bombs went off. And it's the catalyst of about 40 minutes of this old man having a breakdown. This was of course Teddy's underground bunker. And the whole thing is getting weaker and weaker, and during one of these quakes of radiation, they come across Teddy's old room that he used to torture people and eventually kill them. And this is where John Dorie Senior is reminded of one of his old cases that he had whilst looking for Teddy and hunting him down over 30 years ago. He says to June there were 23 victims, but they only ever found 22 bodies. That last victim that they never found was called Cindy Hawkins, and he made a promise they would find her. Of course, Cindy Hawkins is the name of the episode because it focuses a lot on that promise he made.
How about we do this every night so you can put me to sleep?
In this sponsorship, I've got a really cool game to share with you. I've started playing Hero Wars. It's an online role-playing action game with a variety of PvP and PvE modes. Here I can fight against powerful bosses and experience the story. Now, this campaign style is great because it feels like a classic fantasy game. While completing missions, I can collect loot and upgrade my champions. This game has more than 50 unique heroes. Each one has unique abilities. Combine and assemble different teams to battle in the arena or traverse the endless tower. But for me, the main fun of this game is online. You can create guilds, fight with other players, your friends, and constantly rise in rank. Join the game now and get a super chest with a secret hero, as well as 62 emeralds and 30,000 gold. Hero Wars is available on mobile devices and also runs in a web browser, so you can play on your PC or laptop. Scan this exclusive QR code or download the game from the link in the description. I'll see you in game. John forces himself to go back into the room and look in Teddy's little box. Now on this box, there's an Ouroboros on it. Now an Ouroboros, or however you want to pronounce it, is a snake eating itself, and it makes the infinity symbol. And it represents the cycle of life and death. That's so similar to what Teddy believed in, of returning to the earth, the cycle of life. In the box is all of the stories in the newspapers that Teddy has kept of the killings that he did. And among them is a pendant with the letter C on it. This was Cindy Hawkins' necklace. John hears a voice outside the bunker asking for help, and he weirdly presumes this is Cindy herself. So he puts on one of the makeshift radiation suits that June has made for them both, which by the way is really cool, and he goes out and sees, of course, Teddy and Dakota's body, or what's left of them. Shit like that just really interests me. I love that. I love when shows don't forget. They could have just as easily had him go out and not seen a thing. But now they show you these deceased characters, and I loved it. It's sad because John says this when finding Dakota.
Poor girl. Another one I couldn't save.
Well, she killed your sons, I wouldn't really feel that bad about it. He starts hallucinating depictions and visions of this Cindy Hawkins girl that he once knew, this never found victim of Teddy's, and honestly all of her appearances just felt really satire and silly. The whole time it just looked like that actress was trying not to laugh. She was enjoying it. She was at a Fright Night experience. I don't know why John was so scared. I think she was having a laugh. I think she made her night. Turns out this wasn't Cindy Hawkins, it was actually a walker, and June comes out of the bunker and saves him. Normally I'd be quite alarmed when a character freezes around a walker, but John got complete closure of the Cindy Hawkins matter by the end of the episode, so I'm not really as worried for him as I would have been. In this episode, John repeats, "It's not too late, it's never too late," and I think that quote is just another example of how great this character is. I'm so glad he didn't just die with Teddy. There seems to be a lot more to him than just defeating Teddy, because that's all done. He's got closure on it now for the most part, and now he's just a good character. He's a good addition to the show. I think he's better than John Dorie as well. I literally prefer him to his son. They find that they're being watched by these three suited men opposite to them, but I don't like that. From this point, June treats John Dorie Senior like he's some drunk old man. Don't go out, what you doing? You're careless, you're senile. What you doing? Get to bed and shit. When it's revealed in reality, June was just scared to go out and she was lying about there being some limit on the bunker. I still like June though, it's weird. I was never keen on her. In fact, I was annoyed by her when John Dorie was in the show. I think she's just a lot better when she's in turmoil, in agony, uncomfortable. I think that's the case with most people. You know, I've always said this, I never liked Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead happy. I never liked him smiling and shit. I loved him when he was crying. It was just good to watch, and I think he's really cool and he's like that. So yeah, no, I like June. I think she's all... Just ignore it. Ignore it. In retrospect, I'm not that keen that she drugged him either, because you've got to remember, she revealed at the end, she was just scared of going out into the real world, living without John, which is fair enough. Yeah, it's sad and shit, but you alienated him, and then you drugged him. He's just looking for closure. And then she gets knocked out, so I can't say, if you didn't like June, I can't say this episode is going to do you any favours.
Not until you tell me the truth! Tell me the truth! Tell me!
I made them up!
Oh, you're brave. So then John gets out of the bunker and ambushes the three men trying to get into it, and that in itself was a really cool scene. The only thing is, it really made it look like he should have died. I swear there were like 10 different times where the walkers were dead in front of him, a whole year just standing in front of them. Oh no, don't come near me, no, you're not real. They were real, and they were in front of you just sitting there for about an hour, to the point it just tainted the scene for me. I hate it when characters survive such silly situations, like the walkers were all around him. I didn't expect nor want him to die in this scene, but I just think it looks satire, so scenes like that shouldn't be done if it's going to look like a fucking joke. So off screen he manages to kill all of them, and saves June just in time. When they're back in the bunker, they see the arm of a dead body in the wall. It's Cindy Hawkins. This gives John all the closure he needs, which was really nice, but it's also of course genuinely sad. And an interesting note, this body wasn't turned because this was over 30 years ago, when the virus wouldn't have been a thing. They put on their suits and decide to go out finally, only to be knocked out again. They wake up in Strand's tower.
Good morning.
Interestingly, when John asks about the people in the gas masks, Strand says this.
I've been asking myself the same question. Perhaps we can answer it together.
Could it be that instead of these being Strand's people, they were actually Padre's people? It cuts to Morgan finding the bunker that they were in and putting down these now Walker gas mask people, and he pulls their masks up and we get a close-up of this person's face, so likely something we're going to find out when we see what happened before with Alicia. That's when we'll see who these people were and what their intentions were. Unless this was just a witty joke that Strand said and they were his people. We know of a small group called the Stalkers, a safe zone marked as Padre, and of course a small hint this season of the CRM, which brings us on to Strand and Morgan's conversation. This conversation that they have together is so important, not only because it sets the tone for the rest of the season, but it actually projects where these characters are heading. I mean, you've got Morgan by himself saying Strand can build this new world, he can look after people, but if you hurt anyone that I care about, that's when he will intervene. So really, in a perfect world, if all goes to plan, if no one he cares about is hurt, he's just gonna be by himself, he's just gonna walk away. But then Strand says this.
And now, it's my turn. I'm gonna do what you couldn't. I'm gonna rebuild the world. I'm gonna help everyone that you let down. Well, the ones that I see fit.
Literally reciting everything that the CRM wants to do. This is just more evidence to suggest that Strand will eventually work for the CRM if everything goes to plan. Of course, you've got season 7 to keep in mind. Morgan could literally kill him if he harms anyone that he cares about. I do think that's something that he will stand by. I mean, it's become quite obvious that this is the end of Strand in some way, anyway, because of the way he's acting. Not just because he's opposing Morgan, because he's completely flipped. He's genuinely horrible now. He's always been a conflicted character. His whole storyline has been redemption. So I don't think there's going to be a situation where he's beat and just redeems himself all of a sudden and switches out of it. He's already done that. Morgan just killing Strand, I feel like that's really predictable and stupid. It could happen, but you can't ignore the undertone of the CRM anymore. And with World Beyond airing with Fear, I wouldn't put it past World Beyond to just show Strand as one of the majors, as one of the leaders of the CRM. Again, adding more depth as to why Morgan would go to the Walking Dead to find Rick and also beat Strand. He could feel responsible for this. All of the odds are against Morgan. If it is just him, Grace and baby Morgan, they would go to Alexandria, and I wouldn't put it past June and John Dorie Senior to go with them too. We've seen he has some kind of distaste towards joining Strand because of what he did to Morgan too.
You think we're gonna join you after what you did to Morgan at the sub?
Again, on the topic of the sword that Strand uses, it's George Huckley's sword. He was a secretary of the Republic of Texas. There couldn't be any more signs that he's going to join the CRM. Just adding to why Morgan would go after the CRM, not only to help find Rick and get him back home, but to defeat Strand and take them down. Because I don't think in World Beyond they're going to do that at all. They might as well send the fucking iCarly cast in there. Obviously, Strand wouldn't be the first character to ever talk about creating a new world, or to talk so chaotically about their aspirations of being a big leader. But with all the references to war, and with the CRM being in this season, it's staring you in the face how Strand's gonna leave Fear. I say leave Fear, but with World Beyond ending, it could, like I said before, it could literally be a CRM show. This will be the only running show aside from the spin-offs that will eventually be in the current timeline of The Walking Dead. So in other words, you're only looking to the small space between now in the timeline and the first Rick Grimes movie, and even that first movie will be set 7 years before where we are right now. You just got to ask the question, a character like Elizabeth in World Beyond, if she ever encountered Strand, saw what he's built and what he's doing right now, don't you think she'd have high hopes for him? A character showing aspirations like this, of being some leader, the way he's holding himself now, that's all it takes. But what do you think? Do you think he will join the CRM? With the recent rumours, how do you think Morgan would go back to The Walking Dead? Let me know what you think down below. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, then make sure you press the like button. It actually genuinely helps me out and will get this video seen by more people. If so, then check out my review on episode 2 where I talk more about another big returning character and how Morgan could leave, how that would work. And watch my video I did on the Rick Grimes Fortnite skin. I didn't think I'd ever see Rick like that. Oh fuck. Honestly, what a fuck. Rick, it's me, Rick. 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 What the fuck with that Lego shit? Motherfucker.